My 38 female daughter Rose has never been the nicest. She's incredibly ungrateful for everything she has. I let her and her best friend share her bedroom. Her best friend has less fortunate parents, and they don't contribute to any household chores. I even had to start hiding pots and pans from them because I didn't want them to use my nice kitchen supplies. Her room is constantly a mess despite my many attempts to get her to straighten up. 4 months ago, I told her that she needed to find a place to put some old pageant dresses she had been keeping in the garage. That stuff is taking up too much space. She said she didn't have free space anywhere in her room. Then I told her she had 2 weeks to do something with them or I will. She didn't touch them. One morning after 2 weeks, I burned her dresses with our trash. My daughter came outside and immediately started shouting at me not to touch her stuff and said I was crazy, etc. I told her I was sorry, but that I told her that she needed to do something with them, and she had 4 months to do so. She said this was the last straw and made a long Snapchat post about how tired she is of how I treated her. I told my other daughter, Corey, 23, who showed the post to me, that a few weeks after Rose went back to school, I was going to move Rose's room into storage. Rose learned about this last month and told me I was being unfair and a coward for not telling her myself. I didn't respond. I was so hurt and upset that my daughter would talk about me negatively online, I couldn't talk to her anymore. I asked my husband to tell her that I was waiting on an apology from her before I spoke to her again. After my husband told her, Rose came and got her things. The day after, Rose posted another lengthy rant about what a sad excuse of a mother I was on Facebook. She said she won't talk to me unless I went to therapy. I'm beginning to think I may be the idiot for kicking her out. Her reaction was intense, but she is my daughter. Edit, my husband and I have 5 kids. My husband and I tried our best when she was younger, but it was hard with 5 kids. I forgot to mention that Rose is autistic. Because of this, she's always been very difficult to communicate with, and I've tried my best over the years, but it is possible I was going about it wrong. I never asked her to do chores, but I would make comments hinting at it so that I didn't have to tell her directly. She's 19 and I didn't think I'd have to ask her to wash her dishes. You are the idiot. I was with you until you gave the game away by saying you burned the dresses. I no longer consider you a reliable narrator. I no longer believe your account of events and that your daughter is as bad as you say. But if she is, hey, she was raised by a spiteful woman who burns dresses instead of, I don't know, dropping them off at a Goodwill? Thank you for letting that slip. I would have gone the other way and been entirely bamboozled by you. Yeah, you are the idiot. Your daughter is right, you do need therapy. You start by trashing your daughter, announce you burned her possessions, and follow up by throwing a tantrum, planning your revenge, and putting your husband and your other daughter in the middle. Then end by demanding an apology when she posts about it. Unholy main character syndrome, your whole story just reeks of it. Why do I have a feeling you were one of those pageant moms who used your kid to get attention you thought you deserved? Pageant dresses. She probably burned a small fortune. Forcing an autistic child to do pageants is something beyond unethical. Other than that, I'm hung up with burnt it with the rest of the trash. Bad for the environment and you, especially if you burn anything that contains plastic, which most people's household trash does, especially pageant dresses. Yeah, making a bonfire for extra drama is… wow, that's not normal human behavior. OP is 38 with a 23-year-old daughter. She's been a parent since she was 15. Unfortunately, her maturity seems to have frozen in her teen years. My daughter is autistic and struggles to communicate. I also never attempt to communicate clearly with her and hope she just picks up on what I mean. Do you know how ridiculous you're being? I hope you end up waiting for that apology for the rest of your life, for it never to come because Rose has gone no contact with you and started a family and lived happily ever after without you in her life. She's right though, you do need therapy. I don't care how angry you were with her, you burned her clothes. My wife and I got married last summer. I have a son, teen, and a daughter, tween, with my ex-wife, and my wife has a son, younger grammar school age, with her ex-husband. We all moved in together in late 2021. My kids get along great with their stepbrother, and they adore my wife. I've had a trickier time bonding with my stepson. We have my kids every other week, and my stepson goes to his dad's every other weekend. My stepson is a massive daddy's boy. His dad takes him on some kind of adventure every weekend they're together. He's always talking about what he'll do with his dad or what he and his dad did at the weekend, which is annoying but fine. However, recently he's kept comparing me to his dad. saying things his dad would do differently or telling me his dad can do something so I should be able to too. Last weekend we went camping, which is not something we've really done before as a family. When it came to building a campfire, my stepson started complaining I was doing it wrong. I was following a YouTube tutorial and tried to interfere with what I was doing. Then he said, "How are you a man who doesn't even know how to make a fire?" before talking about how his dad could light a fire with a stick. I was already stressed about the whole weekend, and I snapped at him and told him to shut up about his dad. Obviously, I was in the wrong for snapping, so after finishing the fire, I apologized to him and let him know I was in the wrong for talking to him like that. I did, however, reaffirm that I would like it if he stopped talking about his dad so much. Later in the week, he must have said something to my wife about not being allowed to mention his dad. She's now mad at me for having this discussion with him, even though I know she also finds it annoying. In truth, I've always felt self-conscious about my wife's ex-husband, as he is a very stereotypically masculine guy, ex-Marine, and I'm the opposite. My wife's sister called me an overcorrection to my face a few months into dating. It's also frustrating to see how much my stepson idolizes his dad when he doesn't know how much his dad hurt his mom. He cheated on her, was abusive, and continued financially abusing her post-separation. His dad has refused to have any more custody time with his son, and even when we went on our honeymoon last year, he sent his son to his mom's rather than look after himself. I know how much it hurts my wife to see her son favor his dad when he does the bare minimum as a father and damaged her so badly. Am I the idiot for suggesting he stops talking about his dad so much? You are the idiot. This poor child is dealing with a broken marriage not of his making, with two parents he loves who are no longer together through no fault of his own, and this other random guy suddenly thrust into his life. He's young. You're an adult. You have no right to tell a little boy not to feel his feelings. The poor kid misses his dad. Come on now. Put on your big boy pants and adult here. It sounds like you're taking out your own insecurities on this kid. Just stop. Also, daddy's boy isn't a thing, so let me help you. He loves and looks up to his father. Yeah, man, you are the idiot. You said so yourself that you're self-conscious about your wife's ex. You list all the bad things he did to her, but that doesn't impact your relationship. Either you believe she's with you because she loves you and recognizes the value of who you are, or you shouldn't be together. A young child asking his stepfather, "How are you a man?" is completely inappropriate. If your wife didn't seek to address that, I think you have a bit of a problem. My bet is bio-dad is talking smack about you when the son is with him. The comparing stuff is one thing, but "how are you a man" seems like something he heard. Definitely the son is getting some toxic masculinity. I hate that phrase, but in this case it seems fitting. Runoff from his biological father. OP was wrong for yelling at the kid, but the kid had it coming. The real problem is the kid's dad doesn't want to be a parent. He wants to be the fun dad that his kid loves, and his mom and stepdad have to be the actual parents and deal with the aftermath. That's why the dad doesn't want more custody, because he'd actually have to be a parent. My sister recently turned 18 and moved in with me, 20 female. To provide some context, I need to go into our childhood. My parents named me Serafina, and apparently it was my mom's favourite name ever, and once they'd named me, they were happy. When my sister was born, they picked the top name of that year, which was Emily. Not as much thought went into it really, but they figured safe was better than nothing. My extended family loved my name and showered a ton of praise on it my whole childhood, and would often make snide comments about Emily's name and how it was a shame her name was nothing compared to mine. Some would even ask our parents why they ran out of really beautiful names after just me, and my mom and dad would sit and laugh it off. All of this was happening when Emily could hear. Often praise around my name came with praise for how pretty I was and how my name suited me that way. She never got that kind of praise or positive attention at all. A beautiful name for a beautiful girl and all of that. I would tell them to stop bringing it up around Emily, and I was ignored. I tell her that her name was pretty too, and that she shouldn't listen to our family. It chipped away at her confidence, at her self-esteem. When I turned 18 and moved out, I made sure Em had a safe space with me. It helped, but she still felt unsupported and like the family didn't like her very much. When she turned 18 a couple of months ago, she moved in with me and cut ties with our family. I've helped her find a therapist and reminded her daily that she is important and loved, and that our family were idiots for always overlooking her and tearing her down to lift me up in her presence. Our extended family invited us to a family wedding only a week ago. Em didn't want to go and neither did I, so I RSVP'd no. This led to contact from a few of them saying Em is always at these things and I should stop hiding her from them. I told them Em is none of their concern anymore and to leave us alone. They told me Em is their daughter, granddaughter or niece and that I have no right to say she's none of their concern. She will always be their concern. I told them they had 18 years to value her and they tore her down and ignored me when I said that what they were saying and allowing others to say was mean. Then they accused me of causing trouble because of what I said. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your family can reach out and can work on the stuff that happened, but they can't make any demands. Also, your family is so weird for tearing down a child because she was named Emily. What the heck? Emily is rather a lovely name. Your family gave a crap over a name she didn't choose, and your parents just laughed it off? That is really crappy and really sad. Is she an affair baby? What a horrible way to mess her up. OP, you sound like my big sister. If they want to be in her life, they have to earn their place. Your sister decides how much she wants them in her life. Sometimes the best way to love someone is to cut them out of your life. Forgiveness doesn't equal allowing the hurt to continue. Forgiveness is setting boundaries, communicating them and defending them. If your family cannot respect these boundaries, they have not earned forgiveness or a place in your sister's life. Honestly, it's amazing that OP has managed to maintain this trusting relationship with Emily despite being the golden child, scapegoat shtick from the entire family. They should both be super proud of seeing through that and choosing each other instead of their toxic family doing everything possible to make them resent each other. I lost my mom 2 years ago when I was a young teen. Before that, I lived primarily with her and saw my father one weekend a month because he lived several hours from me. He's been married to Charlotte for years and they have 6 kids under the age of 10. When Mom died, I moved in with them, unfortunately, and life became pretty rough. I'm an atheist and Charlotte and my father are some type of Christian. They go to this small church with a big emphasis on everyone taking part. I am forced to attend. But recently I was asked not to come back because I don't pray, I don't engage in services, and I was also not involved in the youth service stuff they had for kids and teens. They don't like having someone who never prays, so my father was told it was best if I didn't return. Charlotte is angry. She is not okay with me living with them and not attending, and she told me to pray. I told her no. I told her I've never prayed a day in my life and I won't start just for her. She told me I was setting a bad example for her children, and I told her I didn't care, that her beliefs were not mine, and that I was not sitting there talking to myself or addressing someone I didn't believe in. I told her she couldn't make me religious, and the sooner she accepted that, the better. She told me I was a sinner and I should be ashamed of myself for speaking to her and about the family religion that way. Am I the idiot? Edit, my father and I are not close. He is no help to me. I don't have the option to talk anything over with him. My mom didn't have much family and I have no way to contact the one relative I do know. My plan is to get as far away from them as I can when I'm 18. I go to a Christian school now and I do not trust any of the teachers or staff members there because I'm a pet project to them. Not the idiot. You have every right to believe or not to believe in whatever you want. If Charlotte's faith is so fragile and she's so worried her brainwashing of her kids will crack because one person they're around doesn't actively participate, then her faith isn't that strong to begin with. It's not like you're going out of your way to bash or disrespect them. Honey, you're a teen and likely still depending on your father and his wife. If you continue this way, it will be wise to prepare an exit plan. Money, papers, possibly a job, a place to stay, etc. are all things you will need. I don't know if you can be kicked out before 18. You can judge the risk best and whether playing along for a while might be better. Absolutely this. You are certainly in the right. Prayer and religion in general should never be a requirement. However, your stepmother does seem like the type to kick you out over religion. Start preparing now. Hopefully you will have until 18, but you never know. Make and save money if at all possible, so you have an exit strategy, or consider playing along until you can support yourself. A sucky option, but it may be necessary. Use all this as motivation in the meantime because you certainly won't be able to rely on them in the future. Get good grades to get scholarships if you can, or start looking into trade schools. Anything you can do to get ahead now. The best revenge will be a successful future without them. Good luck to you, and I wish you the best. Our parents were always very active people and encouraged us to be very active as well. Most of my siblings and I thrived in this lifestyle, but one of our brothers hated it. I'll call him Tom. Tom hated being outside, exercising, heat, wildlife, etc. Our parents always encouraged him to at least try something before deciding, but they let him skip things he insisted he didn't want to do. My brother, whom I'm closest in age, and I wanted to make a snorkeling trip together. While planning, we decided to invite our youngest siblings as well if our parents would pitch in a bit and were okay with us watching them. We didn't invite Tom, 22 though, because we knew he'd hate this trip, and we figured he'd be busy with post-graduation plans and everything. In addition to snorkeling, we will also be hiking, rock climbing and free diving on this trip. These activities are things Tom expressly hates or cannot safely do. Tom heard about the trip from our parents and is hurt that we didn't invite him. We explained that the trip would involve a lot of getting up early, which he hates, a lot of physical activity, hates, and very little to no lounging in comfort, his main priorities when vacationing. But he said he could still come and do his own thing and meet us for dinner. We aren't planning on hitting any restaurants. I said if he wants, he can book his own room on the same dates, but we know he gets really upset when he's woken up early, so we won't share with him because we don't want to deal with that. He feels like we're bullying him and being idiots for no reason, but we aren't trying to do that. We want to have a good time. He says it's ridiculous that our brother in middle school and sister with special needs are considered better company than him, which isn't what we said at all, but that's how he's interpreting everything. Were we the idiots not to invite him? I'd say you are the idiot, because if I was in his shoes, I'd be feeling pretty hurt that my family, the people I grew up with, excluded me without even giving me the option to discuss it. You just made an assumption. I can see how that's hurtful, but I think the fact that he had to hear about it from the parents and not from you speaks a bit too much here. Why the secret? Disagree, not the idiot, and this is a classic. Say no enough times and people will stop inviting you. They don't owe their brother anything, and they're not idiots for not inviting said brother. They are going on vacation to do activities that the brother doesn't like, not to spite him, but because they enjoy such activities. They are not obligated to change their vacation to conform to their brother. Heck, in my opinion, they were more than graceful in their explanation to him. I wouldn't have been as tactful.